وأدعو الأنام لمنهاجكم ومنهاجكم غاية المغنم.
What is the purpose of worship? Why do we worship Allah?
We worship Allah to serve Him because everything that we enjoy is because of Him. So everything we enjoy right now is because of Allah. So we have to, because He brought us to this planet. That's our major purpose, for us to worship Him. And so,
What is the purpose of worship? Why do we worship Allah?
We worship Allah because we believe on Prophet Muhammad, and we believe on Allah. Also believe on Quran. So I believe we worship Allah because of that.
What is the purpose of worship? Why do we worship Allah?
Okay, we worship Allah in order for us to, as in, it's our duty to worship Allah. Because if you worship Allah, that is the only way you get to hell. You get to heaven.
What is the purpose of worship? Why do we worship Allah?
My purpose of worshiping Allah is to make sure that at least you make the people understand how Allah is, and to also expand the knowledge to make people understand what's going about in Islam, and to make sure that inshallah we also achieve the knowledge of Islam, and to make sure that at least once in a while you're supposed to make people understand what Islam is all about.
What is the purpose of worship? Why do we worship Allah?
Because He's our creator, and He created us to worship Him. And there's anybody worthy to be worshipped except Allah.
Why do we worship Allah? What is the purpose of worshiping Allah?
Yes, we worship Allah because He's the one that created us. Because we are the servant of Allah. That is why we worship Allah.
What is the purpose of worship? Why do we worship Allah?
We worship Allah because we need His mercies, in everything we do. We need His mercies. We need His mercies, sha. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, welcome to this episode here on the channel. We've been back from the street and we've asked the question, the purpose of worship. So today what we'll be discussing is the reason for worship. Why do we worship Allah? What is the purpose of it? The essence of this question is putting in mind the hadith Qudsi, in which the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if everybody on earth, mankind and jinnkind together, if all of us were to be as righteous as the most righteous person, then it will not increase the kingdom of Allah in anything. And if all of us on earth, man and jinn, first and last, were to be the most corrupt, then it will not, decrease anything in the kingdom of Allah. So this hadith, what it's trying to say is that our worship of Allah does not, add any value to Allah, nor does it decrease anything from Him. So if this is the case, then why do we worship Him? If this is the case that Allah does not really need our ibadah, then why do we do it? So in order to answer these questions, we need to look at some of the sayings of the Prophet ﷺ. And the hadith collected by Imam Bukhari and Muslim, the hadith of Mu'adh bin Jabal. Mu'adh bin Jabal narrated that the Prophet ﷺ, one day when he was riding with the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet ﷺ asked him, Ya Mu'adh, atadri ma haqqullahi ala al-ibad? O Mu'adh, do you know what the right of Allah is upon His slave? Mu'adh bin Jabal says, I said, Allah wa Rasuluhu alam, Allah and His Messenger knows best. And the Prophet ﷺ said, the right of Allah on His slaves is that what? An ya'buduhu la yushriku bihi shay'an, that they worship Him alone without associating any partners to Him. So the Prophet ﷺ said, Ya Mu'adh, do you know what the right of the slaves are on Allah? And Mu'adh said, Allah wa Rasuluhu alam, Allah and His Messenger knows best. The Prophet ﷺ said, the right of the slaves on Allah is that what? That Allah enters them into Jannah if they do that. So from this hadith we get that the right of Allah on His slaves is that we worship Him. So it is a right to worship Allah, number one, because it is the right of Allah on us. For creating us and providing for us and fashioning all our affairs, then it is a right that what we worship Him alone without associating partners with Him. So this is the first reason we worship Allah, because worship is a right of Allah. The second reason we worship Allah is because we want to attain His Jannah, and we want to be saved from His Jahannam. We want to enter His paradise and be saved from the hellfire. There are so many verses of the Quran that points to this, that if you do this, this is the reward, and so on and so forth. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Baqarah, the very beginning pages of the Surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that what this Quran is hudan lil-muttaqin, is a guidance for the muttaqin. The muttaqun, as the Ibn Taymiyyah rightly defined, is what? Is anyone who takes a barrier between himself and the punishment of Allah by doing what he's commanded to do and staying away from what he's prohibited from doing and not overstepping the boundaries. It says, التقوى هو اتخاذ الوقاية بينك وبين عذاب الله بفعل المأمور وترك المحظور واجتناب عند والوقوف عند الحدود. So this taqwa means that what you do what Allah wants you to do, stay away from what He does not want you to do. Why? Because you want to save yourself from His punishment. So we worship Allah because we want to save ourselves from the punishment, because we are interested in saving ourselves, from the punishment, and we want to gain His paradise. So this is the second reason we worship Allah, because we want to attain His paradise and we want to save ourselves from His punishment. Another reason that Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi rahmahullah, he mentions that is the reason for worship, is that he said Allah ibadatu ghadha'un li arwahina. The worship is food for the soul. Just like we know that as a human being you need your soul and your body to survive. Your body, if you don't eat, you are going to die, and similarly your soul, if you don't feed it, it is going to die. So the food for the soul is what? Worship of Allah. Just like the food for the body is the normal food that we know, but the food for the human soul is worship. And that is why you find out that any human being, even those that claim that they don't worship Allah, even those that claim that they are free and that they can do whatever they like, you find them worshiping one thing or the other. And that's why Ibn Qayyim he says, whosoever stays away from the worship of Allah, he must worship something else. And that's why you see someone worshiping idols. Why? Because naturally, the way the human soul is, Allah has created it to feed the soul with worship. So that is another reason we worship Allah, because worshiping Allah is what? Is food for the soul. So these are just a few of the reasons why we worship Allah. There are a lot of reasons that Sheikh Muhammad Hassan mentions in his book Al-Ihsan. He mentions a lot of reasons why we worship Allah. So we hope that with this little explanation we've been able to clarify the reason why we worship Allah. Jazakumullah khairan for sticking with us to the end of the video. Inshallah I'll be making more videos like this. So please don't forget to subscribe and like the video. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.